What's up, you guys? My name is Bombwreck, and the pre-expansion, The Battle for Azeroth, has finally come out. Now, I know we were all waiting in anticipation for a few weeks, thinking to ourselves, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? Well, it finally came out now. I'm really excited. I'm actually really happy it took so long for them to come out with this, just because when I figured out that once the pre-expansion comes out, there's no way that you'll be able to do the challenge appearances anymore. So I just went ahead, got the Feral Druid appearance and the Windwalker Monk appearance, and I'm really happy that I got those. But I really wanted to make this video just to share my personal opinion with the pre-expansion thus far, and to see what your guys' feedback is, what you guys think about it so far. And I know that they're going to be coming out with new content as time goes on, but this is just my reaction from the first 2 days that it has been released. Now, the first thing I really wanted to go over is the new posture for the orcs. Now, it took them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, no, we don't talk about that one. 6, 7 expansions for them to finally decide that they need to go and get their backs fixed. Now, I find this really funny because we get parents, we get teachers, we just get we get people in general tell us that we should always have good posture so that we don't have back problems later down the road. But this orc, for the last 20 years, just didn't give a fuck. He just slouched down in his chair, disregarding everything that anyone has been telling him. But now he's finally deciding, alright, maybe we should get our backs fixed, maybe, I guess. But I also find this really funny because the new posture, when the orcs are standing up, their bodies are kind of tilted to the left. Now, that kind of made them turn into, from honor young warrior to, yeah, I'm the shit now, fuck you. So, to me, that's just, it's just great. And the other thing is, these barbers are crazy. Like, these barbers are not just barbers. These are chiropractors. These are plastic surgeons. Like, they went through 10, 20 plus years of college, majorly just going through plastic surgery and chiropractic with a little bit of cutting hair and trimming beards and stuff like that. But these guys make bank. Like, the WoW universe is probably the only universe that you could live in, and your parents would be super glad that you went become a barber, just because of how much bank these guys must make with all the mistakes that people must have had, and they're like, I want to change it now. So to me, this was something noteworthy that I just had to put out there. And another noteworthy thing that I wanted to mention was the recent item scaling that they implemented into World of Warcraft. Now, when I popped into my Fury Warrior, his item level used to be 933, but when the pre-expansion came out and I checked his item level, he was a whopping 209 item level. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I was telling him, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like, the item level difference is so drastic. But I realized when I started leveling with my paladin that a lot of things are a lot harder to kill, and most notably the bosses. So I was queued up for two 24 plus minute dungeons, only to join a dungeon group that already had people leave the group because they couldn't kill the last boss. And it wasn't even their fault. It's because the boss is dealing way too much damage and he has way too much health, or we're just not doing enough DPS. Either way, you can see that the tank's health is actually dropping really fast, and it's dropping so fast that the healer cannot keep up with it. That the tank dies and everyone else with it. And so with this boss, we just couldn't kill it. We couldn't even get him through the halfway mark. And this other boss, he has a healing ability that supposedly is supposed to heal him for only 38 health per 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds, though, his health would climb by half. By half of his total health bar, his health would climb by half. And his health would go all the way back to full, and we would have to restart the whole thing over again. So I just decided, like, yeah, no, there's something wrong with dungeons, with the item scaling. Like, there's no point in doing this anymore. So I'm not sure if Blizzard decided to do this because of they wanted to make the game more of a challenge, which I perfectly understand, or if it's because this is the first time that they've ever tried to do item scaling before, and with this big of a change, I would not be surprised if they didn't exactly know where they should have the item level should be, because they're trying to scrunch down. I think the highest that you can get is a 970. They're trying to scrunch down that big of a number to only 200 to 210, 220, whatever the highest is now. But and I think that makes a little bit of an imbalance because they don't exactly know which item level is the best for which content, which expansion, if it's classic, if it's Wrath of the Lich King, or if it's something recent like Legion. Because I heard from one of my friends that when he tried to do an LFR Argus, it was actually really easy to kill him. It was actually a lot easier to kill him than before the pre-expansion. So I think that there's just been a little bit of there's just a little bit more figuring out that they need to do for this game in terms of item scaling, but I'm pretty sure that they are going to fix it. And the other thing that I wanted to really talk about was the day one connectivity issues that WoW was having. Now, when I first started playing the pre-expansion right when it downloaded, there was a time frame that every maybe 20-30 minutes I'd randomly disconnect. I didn't really think anything of it. I just went back to playing. And then all of a sudden there was a 3 to 4 hour time frame that I just couldn't play WoW at all. And this wasn't just me, this was everybody across the whole player base. And it got so bad that they had to shut down all the servers, all the realms, just so they could try to find the error why everyone was having such bad connectivity issues. And I wanted to talk about this because I was reading through the forums and I was reading through Blizzard's Twitter about them acknowledging this error, that a lot of people were trying to get compensation for this mistake. And I just wanted to point out the fact that even a prestigious gaming company like Naughty Dog or Blizzard, they're always gonna have they're gonna have their mistakes. They're gonna have their errors. And because I know with Naughty Dog, with Last of Us, there was a part there was an area in the museum that was completely just voided out. You couldn't pass through it, and it was the place that you had to go through to progress through the story. And I don't know if it was just me, but there was a lot of people. I think there was a lot of people who had this error, and it took Naughty Dog, I think, a couple days to fix so that we could actually start progressing through it again. But with WoW, they fixed their connectivity issue within the day. And keep in mind is that this error wasn't some client-side thing where you walked into a barrel the wrong way and your game crashed. That's something that can be easily isolated. With something that has to do with servers and connecting one server to another thing to connect to your computer, it's very, very complicated. And coming from someone who is taking classes to become a video game developer, it's very difficult to try to find something like that. Just because there's so much that you have to search through, so much data that could potentially be right or wrong. So the fact that Blizzard was actually able to fix this error day of was actually really amazing, and it tells me that WoW cares about its player base community, but it's not something that it took them a week to fix or anything like that. So that's not really anything that's really compensate worthy. But that's only to me, because I knew that Blizzard was gonna fix this error as soon as they possibly could, and they did. They proved me right, and I'm glad about that. So something like this isn't really deserving of a compensation because it just didn't take that long. It was only a 4 hour time frame or something like that people just couldn't connect to. But every gaming company makes their mistakes, makes their errors. It's just something that it's really not that avoidable, you know. So that was one of the things that I really wanted to bring up. So the rest of this video, I just want to talk about everything else that they've come out with the pre-expansion. One of them being the War Mode option. And if you guys don't know what that is, if you go to Orgrimmar or Stormwind, depending on what your faction is, you can turn this on in your talents that will put you as PvP no matter where you are, even if you're in Azeroth or Argus or if you're in the Outlands. it'll put you in PvP, so the people from the opposite faction who also has PvP on will be able to attack you. But the bonus for this is that you get a 10% XP bonus and that you get increased rewards. And I think this is really nice for me, at least, because I was leveling my paladin, which is around 48, and I was actually noticing the 10% increased experience. I was actually leveling a little bit faster than I normally do, and I thought this was really nice for me. And the fact that I was playing in the classic, just the classic era between level, I think either 1 to 5 to level 60, I didn't run into anybody from the opposite faction. So I expect that once I hit Northrend or Pandaria, I will be running into more of these opposite faction players. But at this current moment, I think it's really nice, and I think that you should take advantage of this as much as possible. Even if you do find a opposite faction that does kill you, I honestly still think it's worth it, even if you die. I honestly just believe it's quite worth it to do. As far as other stuff, I was reading the patch notes. There's going to be a quest line for the pre-expansion that's going to start next week. So I'm very excited about that. And I'll have world quests that you can do at, I believe, for Kalimdor, I think it's the Dark Shore. Other than that, I'm not entirely sure where the other world quests are going to take place. I know that the quest line is going to start off with the Horde taking over the Night Elf area. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not even going to try. And then it's going to go into the Alliance trying to take over Undercity. So other than that, they've done a little bit of UI changes. I'm not a big fan of UI changes with anything, but that's just, I think, me with my kind of stubbornness when it comes to UI, because I don't really like learning new stuff when I'm playing a game, like how to use the new UI and stuff like that. I'm not that big of a fan of it, but I think it's just, I just gotta learn. That's all it comes down to. And same with like the guild tab, because I think they changed the guild tab, but I think they changed it back, so I'm not sure what they're doing with the guild tab. But other than that, my final opinion for this my final opinion for this pre-expansion is I honestly quite like it. I like the fact that they're doing more of like a PvP focused expansion, which and I think that's something that a lot of people wanted as well. They wanted a storyline that focuses more on Alliance versus the Horde. So I'm actually really excited about that. I'm excited to see what they're going to take the game in terms of when the actual expansion comes out. I would love to see what kind of raids they're going to have as well. I've only heard stuff from other people. Just the final thing I wanted to say is just give Blizzard time to fix all their stuff, because there are a lot of changes that they haven't really tried out before. Mainly just the item level scaling. Just give them some time to fix that, to figure out what works best, and so that everyone will have a fun time playing this, and dungeons aren't going to be a pain in the ass to do. So I hope you guys like this video. Please leave a comment letting me know what you guys feel about this, about the pre-expansion, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
When you lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines, but always know that you'll be safe. I'll be here throughout your days. Come find me and we will play.